Hey, this is views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Thank you very much for Spreaker. Also broadcasting live from the biggest little city in the world behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, Reno, Nevada. Out here, and we've had fires in the last few days that smoke has covered the city. We hope that everybody can get home safely. We hope that the firemen and the fire personnel get a handle on this fire. Also in the news, there's just been so much. The judge finally told a judge, I'll get into that here in a minute, told the psych ward to let the guy go. That would be that Raub, that put his stuff on Facebook and talked about Obama and all that, and the FBI came and got him and picked him up and blah, blah, blah. The judge said, finally let him go. Told the place, let him go. You have no right to keep him there. So I don't know what they're going to do. I'll get into that story here in a minute. If you want to follow along, please go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. I'm there now. Got a little video up there. Seemed to be interesting, so I thought I'd put it up there. It's called Liberals Hate the First Amendment and Religious Freedom. So I thought I'd put that up there just for your entertainment. The manufactured U.S. veteran threat against Obama that will justify martial law. I'll get into that. That's over at the Intel Hub. Immigration agents sue to stop Obama's non-deportation policy. That's also in the news. And, folks in Australia, love you people over there. Hey, you are all under surveillance. Peter Kling, you can find him on Facebook at Peter Kling, Kling. Put that up. That is from newmatilda.com. You are under surveillance. Talks about Australia being under surveillance. Now that, hey, what do you think? You get rid of the guns, you ban all guns, and, all that. Yeah, you're going to be under surveillance. You bet you are. Federal judges have ruled testing welfare recipients for drugs violates Fourth Amendment rights. Seriously? Okay, I'll get into that. Got a lot about that to talk about. Yeah. Thought police are tracking your every move from InfoWars Social Networking Coalition on Facebook. Got that from rtr.org. Also, picture up there. Claims you have nothing to hide if you have done nothing wrong. Beats and arrests you for filming him. Yeah, got that picture up there. Here it is. Texas judge warns... Texas judge, not this one, but a Texas judge warns Obama re-election could lead to civil war. He was talking about something else. And he said, quote, I'm thinking the worst. Civil unrest, civil disobedience, civil war, maybe. That's what he said. And also, the U.S. Census Bureau helped racially target thousands of American citizens for armed government kidnap. That's from the Infowars.com. By the way, the FBI and other documents have been leaked to Infowars.com stating literally that Alex Jones and Infowars and PrisonPlanet.com are being monitored by the federal government. You're all being monitored. Okay, all of us. I'm being monitored. They're probably hearing me right now. Well, hey, when you expose a liar and a thief and a cheat and criminal, hey, be prepared for retaliation. Seriously. Okay? Now, McDonald's and Nickelodeon among websites collecting data on children. How do you like those apples? Texas judge, we need to raise taxes to prepare for civil war if Obama is reelected. The kind of dovetails into the other article as well. That's from theblaze.com. NWO FEMA goes to Australia to help build concentration camps. I'll get into that one as well in the next 2 hours. As a reminder, okay? Oh, and one last story from thinkprogress.org. That's I believe that's a a George Soros-funded organization that pretends to be conservative. Tampa authorities empty jail in anticipation of mass arrests at GOP convention. Isn't that lovely? Okay, we'll get into that. Hey, got a reminder for you on Friday. That would be tomorrow. The first hour of the show, we will have open forum Friday. Call in with whatever you want to talk about. And just so you know, if you have a habit of, cussing and swearing and all that, please keep it to a minimum. Thank you very much. Not that we have to worry about FCC. You can say whatever you want. But it just, you go into that tone of discussions and, it just deteriorates from there, really. So tomorrow, open forum Friday for the first hour. I may go all 3 hours, but I'm not sure yet. I have 3 hours afforded to me here on Spreaker, but I only go 2 because I really honestly don't get a whole lot of information to cover 3 hours. So anyway, and we also have a show, Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri, on Friday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, and so I'll have to prep for that show as well. And there's really not much to prep for that show. We talk about everything under the sun. So it's a grab bag potpourri of subjects. So, there's really no notes to take on that show. But anyway, open forum Friday tomorrow for the views expressed. The first hour, call in. I'll give you the number or give you a way to call in later in the show today, and also tomorrow at the start of the show at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Nathan Kale is in the Spreaker chat. So first of all, hello. And I just want to say hello if you're over there in any other parts of the world, specifically in the UK. Cheers. Love you people over there. I plan on getting over there at some point if TSA doesn't want to stick their hands down my pants. But anyway, I'm going to go to break here in a couple of minutes, but let me just tell you, you can go to Liberty and Freedom Network at Facebook. Over there at Facebook. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network. And I'll touch upon this, first of all, that seems to have been all over the place, specifically in California. From WashingtonTimes.com, another, piece of garbage newspaper. Immigration agents sue to stop Obama's non-deportation policy, saying they're fed up with being told they can't do their jobs. 10 immigration agents on Thursday sued the Obama administration to try to halt the president's new non-deportation policy and an earlier memo instructing them not to go after rank-and-file illegal immigrants. Hello, they're illegal, they're breaking the law. The lawsuit, filed in a federal court in Texas, adds a legal controversy to the political fight that has been brewing over President Obama's immigration policies, which have steadily narrowed the range of immigrants the government is targeting for deportation. Yes, just about a year or so ago, President Obama told the National Guard, which he only had like 600 of them on the borders, go home now. Your job is done. And that pissed a lot of border agents off. Continuing, the 10 U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents and deportation officers said Mr. Obama's policies forced them to choose between enforcing the law and being reprimanded by superiors, or listening to superiors and violating their own oaths of office, and a 1996 law that requires him to put those who entered the country illegally into deportation proceedings. Upping the ante, the agents are being represented by a high-profile lawyer, Chris W. Kobach, Secretary of State in Kansas, and the chief promoter of state immigration crackdowns, such as Arizona's tough law. Quote, he says, Mr. Kobach said, ICE is at a point now where agents are being told to break federal law. They're pretty much told that any illegal alien under the age of 31 is going to be let in. Can you imagine? These law enforcement officers are being put in horrible positions, unquote, and that's true. Last week, at Mr. Obama's direction, the Homeland Security Department began taking applications for those 30 years of age or younger, or who come to the U.S. as children and who have kept a fairly clean criminal record. Really? Fairly clean criminal? No. They're criminals for being in this country in the first place. They violated immigration law. Hello. These people can't figure it out. That's what liberals do. They want to destroy everything, really. Continuing, they are being granted, quote-unquote, deferred action, which is an official notice that they are not to be deported and will be allowed to obtain work permits to stay and get jobs legally in the United States. Now, it's a lengthy article, so go click on the link. Immigration agents sue to stop Obama's non-deportation policy on Liberty and Freedom Network. Check that out, if you would, please. In California, on a note similar, they are actually allowing immigrants. I don't want to call them immigrants. They're illegal aliens. They're giving, the state is giving them $25,000 to go to school. Where's that money coming from? California's broke. Also, there's a group of illegal aliens that are suing, so basically telling people that they shouldn't be called illegals. They want to be called undocumented workers. No, you're illegal. You're in this country illegally. Get your ass out now. Bye-bye. Go do it the right way. Go to the consulate, go to the embassy, whatever. Take care of the situations over there if you really want to be in the U.S. But then again, the question is, why? This country's falling apart. Okay, we're under a complete freaking tyranny in this country. And we have TSA out on the streets and the bus stations, train stations, airports. And not only in the airports, they're in the parking lots. They go elsewhere. They get in their little golf carts and they go roaming off elsewhere to harass other people elsewhere. Yeah. Did you hear that story about a month ago where there's a train station next to an airport and the TSA went over there and bugged a few people? I mean, really harassed them and got onto that? I don't know. These people are just out of their flipping minds. Seriously. They are just completely out of their minds. So anyway, hey, let me go to break. I gotta get some water. let me go to break real quick. It's gonna be a short break, about 3 minutes. That's short enough, isn't it? Hey, come on back, stick around, because you're listening to The Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. You were listening to The Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Are you looking for an alternative to your normal everyday radio? Well, check out KTRNradio.com. Jay Towers and Brian Keller bring you everything that you ever wanted to know. And even if you didn't want to know it, go check out That Radio Show with your host, Jay Towers, and That DK Show with your host, Brian Keller, on KTRNradio.com. You want funny? You want entertaining? You want a belly full of laughs? And some seriousness, too. Come check out the J-Man Show right here on Spreaker.com. welcome. This is Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network for the 23rd of August, 2012. Thank you all for listening. If you're listening live and you're in the chat room, hello from wherever you are from. Enjoy your day, enjoy your stay here. Lots of things going on. I mean, seriously. Things change every 5 minutes, don't they? I mean, you can see the stuff where you live, right? Here in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, we have seen Department of Homeland Security police on the roads in the city, okay? We have seen them. There's a place out here called Stead, which is actually the Stead Air Force Base, which has been decommissioned. I use that in quotes because it really isn't decommissioned, because the last time I was out there, I saw military hardware and vehicles. Just saying. Not going to tell you how I saw it. I'll just tell you I saw it. All right? So, speaking of which, in your area, wherever you live, you can email me all of the information you want personally at this show. You can email me all of your information, such as here in Reno and in Sparks, Nevada, we have signs that are free speech zones. Those signs that say that. If you see Homeland Security Police in your area or wherever you live, send that information, video, pictures, whatever you want, to Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. You can also send me personal email here at the show at freeamericaradio at USA.com. That's freeamericaradio at USA.com. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, because that's where I'm going. Click on the link that says the manufactured U.S. veteran threat against Obama that will justify martial law. Susan Posel wrote an article for theintelhub.com, posted today, the 23rd of August, 2012. She says, forget about Al-Qaeda and state-sponsored radicalized Muslims. The newest boogeyman that the U.S. government wants the American public to fear are our own U.S. veterans. Yes, you heard that right, folks. She continues, the U.S. armed forces are preparing to fight what they call, a racial holy war, okay? Rahawa, is that what it is? Or it's a racial holy war is what it means. Continuing, they claim that white supremacists are joining the military to infiltrate and overthrow what is referred to as the Zionist occupation government. Academics are proposing that the infiltration scheme include white supremacists hiding their ties to neo-Nazi groups in secret in order to get past screeners when applying for the armed forces in recruitment offices. I've heard this happening, by the way. Continuing, in reality, there is a great deal of former and current soldiers who have realized that our government has been taken over by the global elite who are the front for the Zionist movement that have been working in the shadows to instill global governance. That's been going on since 1913, and the signature that President Woodrow Wilson put on the Internal Revenue Act and the Federal Reserve Act sold our freaking financial soul in economics over to the Bilderbergers and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers back in 1913. Continuing, the mainstream media are using the false flag attack on the Sikh temple because the patsy, Wade Michael Page, was a U.S. veteran who was purported to have ties to white supremacy groups. This, according to the FBI-sponsored Southern Poverty Law Center. Yes, the SPLC is definitely a tool of the FBI, on record. Continuing, the Pentagon has banned military involvement in any group they deem a threat to the agenda of the U.S. government. Author Matt Kennard has written about how the U.S. military would recruit members of supremacy groups when they could not fill in their ranks by normal means. I stress that, with what was called a moral waiver, quote unquote. When I was in the military, it was conscientious objector. Okay? Now it's a moral waiver. I don't know if they still have the other one. The SPLC and the Anti-Defamation League, ADL, are working with the military to train soldiers on how to spot extremists in their ranks. These quote-unquote watchdog groups point out that some soldiers have tattoos that could be construed as racist. We can look back at assassination attempts on Obama and see a pattern. They all have been U.S. veterans who were somehow tied to white supremacy groups. This sets the stage for what could be the biggest false flag since 9/11. 9/11 was an inside job, folks. Go check it out. 1,500 architects and engineers are not wrong. Continuing, Anton Kalari, resident of Federal Way in Washington State, was arrested by the Secret Service, assisted by paramilitary police, for making threats against President Obama. Kalari, I don't know, I butchered the last name, showed police his handgun when they came to his door. He was a U.S. veteran with an impeccable record. His mother told the MSM, the mainstream media, that her son has a legal permit for a handgun and that he had never done anything wrong in the past. A neighbor who refused to be identified also remarked that he was a quiet man who never bothered anyone. However, he was being taken to a psychiatric hospital to be evaluated, much like Raub here recently in the last 2 days. Also, a judge in that case told the psychiatric ward, "You better release Raub now." Basically told him, let him go. Continuing, another arbitrary witness claimed that Kalari was wearing a quote-unquote ammunition belt like Rambo when he met with the police. The mainstream media is painting a picture of a man who threatened the police with his firearm. Kathy Schrock, representative of the Federal Way Police Department, said, quote, "The shotgun was coming up to a point in the direction of the agents. The two officers were able to close in and take control of the weapon before anyone was harmed," unquote. Yeah, right. Was she there? I doubt it. Continuing, curiously, the FBI says Kalari sent a threatening email to the FBI's general email address, according to Emily Langley, U.S. Attorney spokesman. The details of the email are being kept secret. However, Langley believes that it was a clear threat to kill Obama. Brian Leary, Secret Service spokesman in Washington, D.C., said that Kalari assaulted one of the police officers that came to arrest him. Leary goes on to say that the email Kalari allegedly sent was, quote-unquote, alarming. According to Schrock, the police who accompanied the Secret Service claim that Kalari had improvised explosive devices in his apartment. The bomb squad was called to the scene, although no explosives were found. The police continued to tout that they believed it was a viable threat. Continuing, this latest threat against Obama has justified the previous fears of possible assassination attempts by white supremacist groups who are upset about having an African American president. Although Congress passed legislation in 1994 stating that U.S. presidents would not have Secret Service protection during their lifetime, Obama has had federal agency protection in anticipation of an assassination attempt. Oh, boy. It's going to have to go to voicemail. As a matter of fact, you can go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Click on that link there and check that out. Let me take a long break here. The number looked familiar. I believe I need to call it back. So, folks, I shall return right after this. You're listening to the views expressed on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting on Spreaker.com. Calvin Wheeler is an American dreamer in a triple threat cage match with his two biggest adversaries, everyday life and himself. His marriage to the woman he believed to be his soulmate is rapidly evaporating before his eyes. The book he's been working on for over a decade is slipping through his fingers as he struggles to complete it. As these pressures grow, Calvin compensates by conjuring up outrageous road rage scenarios in the multiplex of his mind. To make matters even worse, he drives for a living. As his life, job, and dreams simultaneously implode, his wild fantasies begin to literally bleed over into reality. Now, with a gun in one hand and a steering wheel in the other, this distant runner-up in the human race feels empowered for the very first time. And the moral to the story? Traffic can be murder. Red Asphalt by Scott Cherney. Available on the Kindle and in paperback at Amazon.com. It's New York, February 6, 1964. The Beatles are making their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show in one more day. The Plaza Hotel is crazy with the preparations. Alex Frazier, a desk clerk, has secretly let his brother Freddie use the penthouse suite for the evening so he can wine and dine the girl of his dreams. What Alex and Freddie don't know is the Secret Service are using the same room to hide spy novelist Henry Lade. His most recent novel has attracted the attention of the Soviets and East Germans. The communist countries believe Lade may have secretly discovered their plot to bomb Fresno. Assassins are dispatched to kidnap or kill Lade, whichever is easiest. What Agent John Parker and Henry Lade don't know is the Beatles are staying in the same room for their first appearance on American television. Let's Get Laid by Thomas Amo, available on the Kindle at Amazon.com. Hey, you're listening to the views expressed right here for the 23rd of August 2012. Thank you for allowing me to take that break. That was a phone call that I was looking for. And hey, go check out all the things that you heard in the commercials there. Go check it out. I say commercials, they're just promos. Hey, come on. Little one-man show here. What am I going to do? But anyway, yeah, go check it out. Also, if you're going to check out some shows, a couple of shows I'm going to gear you to and direct you to. One is called That Radio Show. It's over on KTRNradio.com. KTRNradio.com. Also, The Angel Clark Show over at RadioFreedom.us. And check that out. Really cool shows. Awesome. Onward and upward with this. You can go to Liberty and Freedom Network, click on the link, the manufactured U.S. veteran threat against Obama that will justify martial law. Go check that out. I just want to say that, yes, we are living in a police state. I don't give a crap what other excuses people have. No, we're not. That's just a conspiracy theory. You're full of crap. We are living in a police state. That's the way it is. End of sentence. 2005, Baylor University, President Bush, King Bush II, His Highness, run by the Queen, went down to Baylor University in 2005 with President Vicente Fox from Mexico and Prime Minister Paul Martin from Canada signed an SPP document, the Security and Prosperities Partnership document, making a foundation, creating a foundation for the structure of the North American Union. In 2009, President Obama and Prime Minister Stephen Harper from Canada and Mexican President Felipe Calderon signed another document which created the infrastructure for the North American Union on top of that foundation. Now, with all these shootings going on, and most of them are staged, and most of them are done by FBI, CIA, that type of thing. Mostly all your white supremacist groups were created by the FBI anyway, or infiltrated by the FBI. They now have the opportunity to crush the Second Amendment and all of the Constitution and Bill of Rights, creating the final nail in the coffin of sovereignty, liberty, and freedom in this country, creating the North American Union. It's not going to last. I think the liberals in Washington, D.C. have forgotten one thing. There's over 200 million, or that's overestimating, there's over 150 million people in this country that have 1 or 2 firearms on them. Okay? So I don't think it's going to be that easy for them to, take over the country, if you know what I mean. They're going to hand it over to the United Nations, and the United Nations is going to run the U.S., and the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations is going to run the rest of the world. The liberals don't want America. They want a communist, fascist, socialist state. Why do you think you saw that picture many, many years ago, a couple of years ago actually, really, with Obama shaking hands with President Hugo Chavez in Venezuela? Why do you think that Bill Ayers and his family funded Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama, whatever you want to call him, at Harvard? Why? Why do you think he did this? He was groomed from a very young age to do this. Anyway, onward and upward. You in Australia? Got some folks in Australia? Check this out. You're all under surveillance. A cybercrime bill was passed yesterday that will allow the government to collect and monitor your internet records. Kelly Tranter on a new era of suspicion and a very dubious reform process. Okay, Australians, love Australia. Your country looks beautiful, but, hey. Now, there's a couple people in the Spreaker chat. Nathan Kale still there. Thank you, Nathan, for dropping in. Globe 7110 was there. I don't know who you were, but hey, he said he had to run, and hope you had fun. Come on back. We won't talk more about this. Going to Australia now, to Down Under. The article is from newmatilda.com. Give them all the credit for it. The government's internet security plan to store the web history of all Australians for up to 2 years has been put on the back burner until after next year's election, but new laws passed this week will allow police to compel telcos and ISPs to retain the records of people suspected of cyber-based crimes. The Cybercrime Legislation Amendment Bill 2011 was passed by the Senate yesterday. This occurred before the Joint Select Committee on Cyber Safety got the chance to do its work and before the public was able to give evidence. Submissions for the inquiry into reform of national security legislation have only just closed. This was posted today. It is likely that the inquiry will agree to the push for expanded powers and that further legislative reforms will be enacted very early in the term of the next government, whether Labor or Liberal. The haste to pass legislation before appropriate public and parliamentary debates reflects an international trend towards the enactment of harmonized laws to the detriment of national sovereignty. That was a long way of saying they want a global one-world order. Civil liberties groups are right to question whether the proposed changes will be used as a tool for turning open source data into intelligence to block whistleblowers, legitimate political dissent, and political movements, and to spy on activities, interests, and political views of innocent, ordinary citizens. I don't even have to go any further with this article. You guys can check it out on Liberty and Freedom Network under "You Are All Under Surveillance." I know exactly where that's going. That's going into the New World Order. That is one world governance. Everybody is, the Bilderberg Group, everybody in that group that was formed in 1954 in Sweden, everybody in that group wants a one world order. Okay? There's the North American Union. There's the Asian Union. There's the European Union, which is collapsing and imploding upon itself as we speak. And Germany is trying to hold it up as much as they can. The United States is trying to hold up this place as much as we can. China and Japan and all of the Asian continents are trying to hold themselves up. It's not going to work. Are we inevitably going to end sovereignty all over the world for free countries and be gobbled up into this one world system? Yes. Dr. Edgar Casey, or I call him a doctor, he's probably not. Edgar Casey talked about it. Nostradamus talked about it. Bunch of people have talked about it. The Bible has talked about it. Ancient writings prior to the Bible have talked about it. So yeah, we are going to be in this one world order, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's not the light of an oncoming train. It is the light of freedom. It is the light. Analysts have said that the United States has to collapse, regroup, regrow, and rebuild, or rebuild and regrow into what the Americans want, you and I. It has to collapse. Financial analysts, social analysts, all of those professors have said it has to collapse. We, the people, will rebuild it into the nation that it was supposed to be prior to the liberals, or prior to people in the 1800s changing everything to accommodate for their controllers and their puppet masters of that time, back in the 1800s. It started back then. It wasn't solidified until 1913. From 1835 on up to 1913, we had the most prosperous country in the world. And it only took, 2% of our nation in 1700s to beat back the most powerful army in the world of that time, which was Britain. Okay? Yeah. It looks like we're the most resilient country in the world as well throughout history. Okay? So, seriously, we will overcome all this. What's that old hymnal, that hymn, "We shall overcome"? That's what we'll do. Okay? We will overcome. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. It's going to, but hey, we can kick some major butt. Trust me. Uh-huh. I have no doubt about it. All right. Zombie apocalypse. Yeah, Nathan, that's true. Zombie with the sheeple out there going, yes, let the government take care of us. No, you're a stupid idiot, okay? You're absolutely right. I think that's what they meant when they talked about the zombie apocalypse, right? Isn't it? I'm not British, no. I'm not. I have relatives from there. My family goes way back to 1144, back to northern, England and France. So, I mean, I got family. But I am a true blue, red-blooded United States of American citizen born and raised here. Thank you very much. Yes, so there you go. Anywho, we're gonna go on to one more, couple more articles actually, before the top of the hour. I got a picture on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. It's the eagle with his head cocked over saying, "Really? You still trust the government?" And that's what I have to ask all my listeners. You still trust the government? Yeah. Okay. Seriously. Get a clue? Okay. Speaking of getting a clue, I'll dovetail that and try to segue into this. From RTR.org, "The Thought Police Are Tracking Your Every Move" by John Whitehead. He is, it's also at LouRockwell.com. He writes, "Advanced technology now provides government agents and police officers with the ability to track our every move. The surveillance state is our new society. It is here. It is spying on you, your family, your friends every day. Worse yet, those in control are using life's little conveniences, namely cell phones, to do much of the spying. And worst of all, the corporations who produce these little conveniences are happy to hand your personal information over to the police so as long as their profit margins increase. To put it simply, the corporate surveillance state is in full effect, and there is nowhere to hide." This is absolutely true. Continuing, "Using the data transferred from, received by, and stored in your cell phone, police are now able to track your every move. Your text, web browsing, geographic location are all up for grabs. Using Stingray devices, often housed in mobile surveillance vans, federal agents track the cell phones of unsuspecting people. By triangulating the source of a cell phone signal, agents are able to track down the whereabouts of a person holding it. These surveillance sweeps target all cell phone signals, not just those of the criminal suspects. Examples of extra-legal police surveillance in the years since 9/11 are numerous, from the NSA's warrantless wiretapping program to the NYPD's spy network that targeted Muslims in the New York area. Oh, and by the way, what about that? You can go to the link on Liberty and Freedom Network. The Thought Police are tracking your every move. What about that $2 billion building they built in Utah? Yeah, $2 billion. Where'd they get that money? Certainly not from my pocket. Oh, well, indirectly, yes. But $2 billion surveillance facility in Utah to spy on you, to house all of your records. Probably what I'm saying now. I don't care. We're fighting you, New World Order, and we are going to defend our liberties and freedoms whether you like it or not. Take away our Second Amendment, we're holding on to our guns. We're going to hold on to them. And in the words of Charlton Heston, you can have my guns when you can pry it out of my cold, dead hands. Got it? And in the words of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, don't sing it, bring it. Yeah, looking for a confrontation? Not really. Looking to defend my family and my freedoms and my friends and all of that? Let me tell you something. You come knocking on my door, you better have a damn good reason to be there. I'll answer any questions you have, but I ain't leaving my house. Okay? Just letting you know. If you know how stubborn mules can get, you ain't seen nothing yet, buddy. You ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah. Now, the thing is that we have to consider two very important things here. One, the sovereignty of people themselves. Think about that. We are all endowed with freedom given to us by a creator. Insert name of your God there. We are given that freedom. We are free individuals in humanity, looking to be free, looking for peace, looking for freedom, security, and looking for people to at least be able to govern a country understanding those principles. We don't have that now. The infinite ignorance of Washington, D.C., has decided that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights don't mean anything anymore. Okay? And I'll get into an article before the top of the hour. Actually, I'll get into it now, because I'm going to segue right into this. We have freedoms to do what we want within reason. We just can't go out and kill people indiscriminately. That's against the law. We can defend ourselves. We have a right to do that. It's called the Second Amendment. We're going to do that. And the states have a right to secede from the Union. That's the 10th Amendment of the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. But over in St. Petersburg, Florida, federal judges have ruled testing welfare recipients for drugs violates Fourth Amendment rights. Bullcrap! Bollocks! Okay? Here in the great United States of America, we the people have this little thing that we do before we get a job, and it's called a drug test. If you refuse, you don't get the job. So guess what? People have sued businesses because this company violated their Fourth Amendment right. Well, of course, from what I heard, some won, some lost. But if a judge says that testing welfare recipients who sit on their butts and collect a check from the government to buy their big freaking screen TVs and cars and crap like that, the judge says, no, you can't drug test them because it's a violation of your Fourth Amendment right. Okay, then, when I go out or anybody goes out to look for a job and they say, well, we drug test you, well, that's a violation of my Fourth Amendment right. And you tell them, you specifically tell them it's a violation of my Fourth Amendment right. And if they say, well, you don't get a job, just say, okay, but I'm telling you, it's a violation of everybody's Fourth Amendment right, and walk out. You'll get a job sooner or later, I'm sure. But you have to get up in these people's faces. I live in Reno, Nevada. We have casinos. Casinos are notorious, fascist, dictatorial companies that have absolutely no concern about the Constitution and Bill of Rights. None. So anybody that works in a casino, you better look out. They're going to get you no matter what. We also live in a right-to-work state, and they have at-will employment policies, which is a total and absolute violation of our protected rights. But everybody would say, well, show me. It's called the National Labor Relations Act. Hello? It's called the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Fourth Amendment, everything. Everything there is that protects our God-given rights is there, and no one has a right to violate that. If you tell me I'm going to go to work in a casino, but I need a drug test, I'm going to tell them, no, it's a violation of my Fourth Amendment rights. And since I used to work in casinos, I can tell you firsthand they violate every single right you have. Including when they fire your butt and they tell the unemployment office, oh, he did this, when you yourself have to tell the unemployment office you got fired. Well, what for? Well, they go and investigate. They find out that casinos are lying. They know it. It's at will. So what? They don't have to give a reason. Yeah, you do. You have to give me a reason. You have to give me a reason now because I ain't leaving. You got to get up in your face and you got to stand on your protected rights. If you do not, they're going to pull them out from underneath you and you're flat-faced in the mud, man. I'm telling you. It's called civil disobedience, and if you can't do that, then, yeah. Hey, getting on with this article, federal judges have ruled testing welfare recipients for drugs violates Fourth Amendment rights. Bullcrap. St. Petersburg, Florida. Floridians who need help taking care of their children now have to pass a drug test first. Wednesday, as this article says, written by Chase Kane over there at WTSP.com. Thank you, Chase. I'm going to analyze your article here. Wednesday, 10 News looked into questions of whether it's saving the state money or costing more. Tonight, after reviewing federal court cases, we've learned Florida's drug testing laws could be violating your constitutional rights. Since July, nearly 1,500 Floridians have taken drug tests to continue receiving welfare. Governor Rick Scott stands behind it, but federal judges have ruled laws like this violate the U.S. Constitution. I applaud that judge in a way, and I'll tell you that here in a bit. In 1997, ruling from Georgia by the U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, quote, the Fourth Amendment precludes suspicious search. The drug test diminishes personal privacy. In 2003, a U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruling from Michigan backed that up, saying Michigan law authorizing suspicionless drug testing of welfare recipients was unconstitutional. Florida law professor agreed. And James Fox of Stetson University there, an expert on constitutional law, said, ironically, the Florida Republican Party, which opposes federal health care legislation as being unconstitutional, has adopted a welfare law far more likely to be found unconstitutional. This new law reveals hypocrisy, unquote. Now, the judge has ruled testing welfare recipients for drugs violates Fourth Amendment rights. In a way, okay, I'm going to analyze this. I'm going to tell you, in a way, I agree. But overall, in the prospect or in the perception of the law, no. It's not a violation of Fourth Amendment rights, because if I have to go get a drug test just to get a freaking job, and those welfare recipients don't, just to sit on their butts collecting a check, excuse me, I'm not going to get the drug test because you're in violation of my Fourth Amendment right. So these welfare recipients, I believe, have to go get a drug test. Hell, I come from California. I come from Stockton, California. That's where I grew up. You want to talk about welfare recipients? I spent my teenage years hanging out with these folks, hanging out with the druggies and the alcoholics and the prostitutes and the pimps and the drug dealers. Yeah, I hung out with these folks. Tell me again that these people don't buy drugs when they're on welfare. Trust me, I lived it. I know. All right? First hand. All right? So don't tell me these people don't need a drug test. You take them down, you give them a drug test. Okay? Is it violating their Fourth Amendment right? From my analysis, from my perspective, no. Okay? If I have to get a drug test to get a freaking minimum wage job, these folks can get a drug test to sit on their butts, collect their check, and deal drugs. That's what they do with your money, your tax dollars that you work hard for. Okay? Trust me, I've lived it firsthand. I know. Okay? Now, of course, let me hold on before you get all excited and start throwing stuff at your screen. Let me tell you this. The news article here from 10 News, written by Chase Kane, said tonight, after reviewing federal court cases, we've learned Florida's drug testing laws could be violating your constitutional rights. And that's one argument. Now, Betty Reed, Democratic state representative, said it's wrong. It's wrong because this was tried some years ago and it didn't work. Representative Reed is talking about an experiment here in Florida from 2000 where researchers tested welfare recipients for drugs. In their final report, the lead researcher from Florida State University, oh, what a liberal college that one is, wrote, quote, did not recommend continuation or statewide expansion of the project, unquote, because in part, quote, the cost of the program was not warranted, unquote. So they stopped the program because it cost too much. What part of free testing don't these jackasses understand? Okay? Yeah, don't get me, I'll get riled up over this. You'll hear more than that. I say that because aren't Democrats the ones with the, they're the elephants, right? Or am I wrong? Or are they the jackass in the picture? I don't know. I don't really care because I'm nonpartisan. I don't really give a crap about either one of them. They're both ruled by Goldman Sachs. Look who's they're trying to put in office now. Mr. Mittens Romney. Hello. Hey, Willard. I hope you like it in the White House being controlled by puppet masters. Quote, Rick Kreisman, a representative, said, quote, obviously, if you're not saving anything, it makes no sense, unquote. Quote, as a state, it seems to me the message we're sending out is if you're poor, you're not welcome here in this state. If you're disadvantaged, if life has thrown you a curveball, we don't care about you here in the state of Florida. To me, that's not a message we should be sending, unquote. 10 News contacted 10 local state legislatures who supported this bill but did not hear back from any of them. Yeah, because they don't want to be on record. A spokesperson for Governor Scott did respond. He did not argue against questions of constitutionality. He simply said that Florida's law has not been challenged in court. Well, then, put that sucker in court. Let's see where it goes. Continuing, as News 10 reported Wednesday, attorneys from the ACLU are already working on a lawsuit to challenge the constitutionality of these drug tests. Hello, if I got to get a drug test to go to work, these people need a drug test to collect a check that they're not working for. Hello, that's the way it is, bottom line. Don't like it? Tough. Get over it. Okay? I don't know what to tell you, man. I really, really don't. If there's anybody in the Spreaker chat, let me know, because obviously I don't know who's coming and going unless you type something in there. So if you got to leave, say bye. If you're going to stick around, stick around. Thank you very much for being there. Appreciate it very, very much. As Elvis would say, thank you very much. Lots and lots and lots of things going on. Lots of things going on. I don't know where to begin because I don't know, man. It's just crazy. It's nuts. Let me go to I was going to say a small break. No, this ain't. Let me, I'm probably, did this one before. I know, yeah, whatever. You're going to find that I don't hold anything back. I pull no punches, I hold no bars. You know what I'm saying? It's no holds barred here, okay? No holds barred. I will tell you like it is. Again, you have to remember, a little disclaimer in the middle of the show, you have to remember this is from my perspective as I analyze what is out there and what I've known for the past 30 some odd years. Okay? Seriously. So, I'm giving you what's there. From my perspective. You may have a totally different perspective. Please email me that to the show at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. I'd love to hear from you. I really would. Again, Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. We're going to take a little over 3.5 minute break here. Go do what you got to do because I got to go do what I got to do. So we shall see you in 3.5 minutes. Come back to the Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. ladies and gentlemen, he is the king of all dorks. Go listen to the Chris Top program right here on Spreaker.com. Cameras on every corner, TSA checkpoints on major highways, militarized law enforcement in every major city. This is not the United States of America we grew up in. Come get the facts about what exactly is going on. The views expressed, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, on Spreaker Web Radio. For more information, go to www.spreaker.com.
Are you tired of the mainstream media? The media that is so biased, you wouldn't even let your dog listen to it? Well, there's an answer. Angel Clark.
On RadioFreedom.us.
Just listen to her fans.
One hell of a writer. I've read a considerable amount of her articles and quite impressed.
Until Angel, my life was void of meaning.
I want to thank you for saving my goldfish from drowning.
I love Angel Clark's honesty and her down-to-earth concern about the people.
She is very dedicated.
Angel, we need you.
Angel's a sexy woman. I think she's going to go places, but I don't know where.
Ladies and gentlemen, she does a good job.
If it wasn't for Angel,
You saved his life, and I will be indebted to you forever.
SussexCountyAngel.com. Be a part of Angel's Army.
Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. on RadioFreedom.us.
This is the Views Expressed on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Broadcasting live from the biggest little city in the world behind enemy lines in the FEMA Region 9, Reno, Nevada. Hope you're doing good for this Thursday. You're on the downhill slide of the week. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for spreading the word about freedom and liberty. Have your friends check out this show and go over to freeamericaradio.wix.com/theviewsexpressed. If you didn't get that, there's a link for the website right there on the show page there on Spreaker. Spreaker has some really good plans. If you've got a show idea, yeah, check it out. Some really decent plans. A whole lot better than Blog Talk Radio. I'm telling you right now. Anyway, there's advantages and disadvantages of both. So there you go. Just want to throw that in there so you don't, oh, you're bashing her. No. Also, going to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Please follow me there. More than happy to have you read all of the information. Okay, that's there. I have a picture up there. I have a picture. It says, claims to have nothing to hide if you have done nothing wrong. Beats and arrests you for filming him. It's a picture of a police officer. Yeah. Texas judge warns Obama re-election could lead to civil war. From Infowars.com over there with Alex Jones and all those. And yes, there's a video associated with it. Click on the link, you'll see it. The full story is at Chron News, CHRON.com news out of Houston, Texas. A Lubbock County, Texas judge is asking for a tax increase to hire deputies for the inevitable civil war he believes would follow President Obama's re-election. The way he puts it, Judge Thomas Head wants to prepare for the worst, which to him means, quote-unquote, civil unrest, civil disobedience, and possibly civil war, according to a report from Fox 34 Lubbock. Judge Tom Head and Commissioner Mark Heinrich told the station this week that a 1.7 cent tax increase for the next fiscal year was necessary to prepare for any contingencies, including Obama's re-election. He also mentioned to the station that the county needs a pay increase is needed for the district attorney's office and more funds to pay for more sheriff's office deputies. Head said, quote, he's going to try to hand over the sovereignty of the United States to the United Nations. And what is going to happen when that happens? Head asked the station during a Monday interview, quote, I'm thinking the worst. Civil unrest, civil disobedience, civil war maybe, and we're not just talking a few riots here and demonstrations. We're talking Lexington, Concord, take up your arms and get rid of the guy, unquote. That's what he said. Let me take a wild shot in the dark here, shall I? Let me take a wild guess as to what's going to happen with this guy in less than a week. Can you say fired? No, I believe that he will have something happen to him. Not physically. I think he'll lose his job or get reprimanded by somebody higher up or whatever. I believe that this judge who is saying that there's going to be civil unrest or possibly civil war in Lubbock, Texas, is going to get reprimanded big time and probably get demoted. I think he's going to be taken off the bench. I don't know that for sure. I'm not predicting anything. I'm just saying follow the trend. What has happened when people have spoken out against, certain things or what they think is going to happen? Yeah, they either wind up losing their job or they wind up a whole lot worse, So, yeah, I absolutely agree with this judge. I really do. If Obama is reelected, or let me put it to you honestly and truthfully, if Barack Obama, whatever name he's using this time around, gets reappointed, you heard that right, reappointed to the position as dictator of the North American Union, there's going to be civil unrest. Guaranteed. Okay? Now, that can only be put off for a while if the other puppet is put into place. That would be Mittens Romney. And if he's put into place, then there's not going to be any civil war because I'll tell you why. Because people are going to go to sleep again going, oh, wow, look, he's going to take care of everything. Him and Paul Ryan, yay. Yeah, right. They're puppets, folks. President Obama, anybody in that position is nothing more than a puppet. President Obama is an illegitimate administrator, and he doesn't know what the heck he's doing, but hey, come on, By the way, in the villages in Florida, speaking of Florida, federal TSA agents were seen searching American citizens at a speech event for Congressman Paul Ryan. Get used to having federal goons searching you when you go out in the public. It was never designed to be limited to airports, like I said earlier in the show. Paul Ryan, Voted yes on TARP. Voted yes on economic stimulus HR 5140. Yes on $15 billion bailout of GM and Chrysler. Voted yes on $192 billion additional anti-recession stimulus spending. Yes on federalizing rules for driver's license to hinder terrorists. Yes on making the Patriot Act permanent. Yes on allowing electronic surveillance without a warrant. Yes on authorizing military force in Iraq. Yes on emergency $78 billion for war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Yes on declaring Iraq part of the war on terror with no exit date. No on redeploying troops out of Iraq starting in 90 days. In other words, don't bring them home. Yes on limited prescription drug benefit for Medicare recipients. I got something to say about that. Yes, on providing $70 million for Section 8 housing vouchers. Yes, on extending unemployment benefits to 59 weeks. Yes, on No Child Left Behind. And yes, on Head Start Act. Not based on his voting record. Paul Ryan, a conservative? I don't think so. On the Medicare recipients, I just got word. Please keep prayers and thoughts going. Found out a family member is in the hospital. Found out Medicare would pay for it, except for Obamacare has pushed Medicare out of the system and will not allow Medicare to pay. Yeah, people thought Obamacare was not supposed to be implemented until 2014. Guess what? Dun dun dun! Newsflash! It's called executive order. President Obama has signed 293 executive orders since he's been in office. They shut down Obamacare in the Senate and shut it down in the House, or pretty much covered it up and put it underneath a bigger pile. Well, Obama didn't like that, so he signed a little executive order that nobody knows about. We do in the alternative media. And literally just said, screw you Americans, I'm putting socialized medicine into the works. Now. Okay? By the way, these geniuses in Washington, D.C., and I use that term loosely because none of them have an IQ higher than 100, seems. Except for Ron Paul and all those folks. These people, all they want, Obamacare is geared to do one thing and one thing only. Kill you. That's what it is. They don't care about this, that, or the other thing. Okay? They don't care about you as an individual when it comes to health care. They don't care. All they care about is putting their agenda through and making everybody, submit to their global fascist ideal of what they think this country should be, and they're going to create it in their fascist dictatorial, image. Okay? Is that the National Health Service over there in Britain? In England? Same thing. They work together. They're tied. They're connected at the hip. Obamacare and all that crap going on over there in England with the NHS and all that, they're tied at the hip. And guess who wrote it? Members of Big Pharma. All of these people that are the legalized drug pushers. They create drugs that have, they say, it's going to cure this and suppress this and help you with it. No, but it has like 15 different side effects, and eventually you're going to have to take 2 or 3 other pills to counteract all these other side effects. So then you're going to have to take 5 more pills to counteract those 4 pills, and then they're out to kill you. Go natural, man. I mean, yeah, we put stuff in our bodies. Hey, I'm not in the greatest shape in the world, folks, okay? I got a little, I'm overweight as far as I'm concerned. I don't give a crap what a doctor says. I stepped on the scale the other night and went, holy crap, I've got to get rid of this. You know? And yeah, I'm not in the best of shape, folks. That's why there's gym memberships in my future. You know? Got to stay away from all of the garbage, you know. Go to InfoWarsShop.com or Team Infowars, InfoWarsTeam.com, I think is what it is. You get some natural stuff there as well. Buy the doctors outside of the system. Like Glenn Beck says, eject yourself from the system. And that's exactly what you need to do. You need to tell the system, you need to give them the finger, you need to tell them to, you know, get on down the road. You know, and go from there, because we don't need the government telling us anything on how to live, what to eat, when to eat, why to work, do this, do that. No, screw them. Screw them. Okay? All right? Just, I mean, you know. Yeah. Nathan said, your country invented that crap. And that's true. We invented eugenics. Hello? That's what Hitler used on, you know, on his people. Yeah, we created eugenics. Hitler took it and, well, mastered killing. We had Margaret Sanger, who was a eugenicist, who created, well, later became Planned Parenthood, because she wanted to get rid of all the black people. 53% of all pregnancies over the last, I don't know how many, several years anyway, over a decade, have been little black babies. Margaret Sanger, okay? A eugenicist. Hitler did the same thing. A deformed, disabled child, boom. Taken to a doctor and you no longer see him. That's what Hitler did. Adolf Hitler, who, by the way, the OSS, later becoming the CIA, and British military intelligence set him up in that position. Same thing we did with Russia. Same thing we did with Saddam Hussein in the late 60s, early 70s. We pretty much set him up in Iraq. The Shah of Iran, remember that back in the 70s or 80s, something like that? The Shah of Iran, we set him up. Man, people kicked him out, you know? So, yeah. Hello? It's all a game to the globalists. They're playing a massive chess game with all of us, and they're about ready to kill us all. Ted Turner, creator of Cable News Network and Turner Networks and all that, he says 80%, 90% of the population of the earth needs to go away. Guess who else? Dun, dun, dun. If you're on a computer, you know this. The one and only Bill Gates, Microsoft creator. Hello. Well, his father, Bill Gates Sr., was also head of the Planned Parenthood for a while. Didn't know that? Hey, hello. They're all connected. Okay? They're all connected. The Bilderbergs. Who's there? Well, the granddaddy of them all is David Rockefeller, who happens to be, I think, 96 this year, and he's on his way out. But now there's new blood. There's younger people in the Bilderberg Group, which was just here in Chantilly, Virginia, May 31st through June 3rd, just a few months ago. Guess who shows up on Thursday, May 31st? Witnesses. 4 witnesses have said Mitt Romney showed up at the Bilderberg meeting, along with the governor of Indiana. Okay? Because so many things are happening so quickly and every 5 minutes something changes, you gotta keep your eye on the ball. Okay? Keep your eye on the ball, because I guarantee you, you're going to watch where these people are getting their orders from. Okay? We also have a senator over here named Jay Rockefeller. Rockefeller, all that. Rockefeller Foundation, Ford Foundation, all these people that set up these global criminal organizations that are trying to take down the United States of America. Okay? Really. And Nathan's right. Most people prefer to stay ignorant. It's not a theory anymore. It's no longer a conspiracy theory anymore. It's a conspiracy of criminal organizations out of Washington, D.C. and around the world to collapse the greatest nation in the world, and that would be America. China. Look, if you go into any store, I don't care if you live in Australia, you're downtown London, you're in a somewhere, some store somewhere here in the United States. It happens to be Walmart, what I call China Mart. You go there, and mostly 98 to 99% of all the products in Walmart and dollar stores and 99-cent stores and all that come from China. And guess what? China is building ghost cities. Ghost cities. Their financial system is collapsing because, folks, socialism and communism do not work. Okay? Just letting you know. Just letting you know, okay? I say, I'm going to pull out my hair, but I don't have much left, so, I'm going to go to a little 30-second break. I shall return in 30 seconds, not long. I'll be back. Just sit tight. Hello, welcome to the Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Hey, if you got some ideas for a show, Spreaker's the place to be. Yeah, they got some really good plans. Go check them out. Go to Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker, Spreaker.com. Check things out. Go down and scroll down to the bottom of the screen. You'll see plans. Go check that out. Whichever one fits your budget, that's the one you should get. It's a great place to be. I know, I'm promoting the crap out of Spreaker. Hey, if you're on my website, which is associated with this show, you'll see a book, Many Directions of Man. That's my book. It's my perspective of things, possible solutions, not a big deal. Great book, I think. I wrote it. I'm biased. Hello. But on the left-hand side, you'll see a store. You can buy stuff. Yes, you can buy stuff. There's also a donate button there if you want to donate as much as you like. Hey, you got a nickel in your pocket? That's fine. All it does is help keep the webpage up, keeps the show going. Thank you very much for your support. Onward and upward. Follow me on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. And we'll continue on. Okay? Now, the Washington Times... interesting little piece of information coming out of there. Go to communities.washingtontimes.com or click on the link on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. The case of Brandon Raub. Can the government detain you over Facebook posts? Written by Tiffany Madison. Thank you, Tiffany, over there at Washington Times. Appreciate it. Brandon Raub, 26-year-old pro-liberty activist, former U.S. Marine, and a Virginia resident, was arrested after authorities deemed his Facebook posts threatening, citing an obscure statute allowing the involuntary detainment of a citizen for psychiatric evaluation. The FBI, Secret Service, and local authorities swarmed Raub's house or Raub's property to question and then seize him without a warrant or recitation of his Miranda rights. You know those. Raub was handcuffed and taken into custody. After a quick hearing, government officials confirmed that Raub's Facebook post necessitated his detention, refusing to acknowledge legal objections that the words were wrongly interpreted. The former Marine will undergo 30 days of evaluation at Salem, Virginia Medical Center. Miranda rights, if you don't know what they are in America, they've pretty much been thrown out the door anymore. But they are. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you by the state. And do you understand your rights? Pretty much. That's what they are. How do I know? Trust me, I've watched a lot of police drama shows on TV. But let me go back to Liberty and Freedom Network, because if you scroll down, I believe you'll see that article. Can the government detain you over Facebook posts? Also, if I did put it up here, I heard a story and read part of it where he was the judge. A judge told the psychiatric, facility, let him go. Okay, that's what a judge told this place. Let him go. You have no right to detain him. He is innocent. Let him go. Okay, so now, if someone came to you and literally wanted you to go with them, or to, as it was in this case, the FBI and all of that and the local authorities asked him to step out of his house, would you? If you saw Secret Service, FBI, and police at your house, would you even step out of your house? You'd be crazy to do so, okay? Because you know where you're going to wind up. All right? Fact of the matter is that they violated his rights. The FBI, the Secret Service. Okay, let me just put it to you. Actually, today, right now, this minute, this moment. As of December 31st, 2011, December 31st, 2011, President Obama signed the National Defense Authorization Act. Completely and utterly gutting the Constitution and the protections that we have under the Bill of Rights. Totally gutting it. It's gone. We no longer have it. I don't know what it is in Europe, in England. I have family somewhere, distant relatives in England and all over the place there as well. I don't know what it is in England. I know in Canada it's the Charter of Rights. I think the Queen, who runs Canada as well, has the same thing in England. I think. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, we have, in theory now, because we don't actually have it anymore, in theory, we have these rights. This Brandon Raub has had every single one of his rights violated by the people who were supposed to be the protectors. Now they're the tyrants. And now he gets thrown into the psychiatric ward and ordered to stay there for 30 days. And I just read a story where he was, a judge told them to release him because, all that. I'll go look that up and tell you more about it tomorrow on the show. But here we are in a country that literally grew from people working together to build a society of free and liberated people. The Church of England, the tyrants over there at the Anglican Church, and all that. And of course, King George and all of his little insanities as well. We fought to get rid of tyrannical rule over the new colonies. And it took 2% of us to beat back the biggest army of that time, the British Army. And we moved into this land. Obviously, we killed a whole bunch of people to take it, but we're here, and we're here now, 236 years later. We're supposed to have a constitution that protects our rights, God-given rights. But I can tell you right now, one of the best presidents in history that we ever had in terms of, yeah, he had his faults, but overall he was really good, and that was Abraham Lincoln, who freed the slaves, Emancipation Proclamation, that whole business. I think if he could come back from the grave, he'd walk up to Barack Obama and punch his lights out and say, see, I made a mistake. See, okay, this is what I knew was going to happen, But I'm throwing it out there, you know what I'm saying? I know he can't come back from the grave, okay, I'm just saying. Abraham Lincoln would probably do something like that. Because he was, he was no holds barred, man. He said it like it was, So, and look what that got him. It got him a steel ball in the back of the head. But anyway, we go on from there. Okay? We go on from there. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. I'm going to... yeah. Speaking of all of that, of freeing people, having free liberated people, all of that. Emancipation Proclamation, Abraham Lincoln signed that, freed all the slaves in the North, but the South didn't like it too much. Okay. And they're kind of a bunch of idiots anyway. But anyway, Mike Adams, the health ranger over at Natural News, posted, U.S. Census Bureau helped racially target thousands of American citizens for camp internments. Oh, let me read this. Actually, I'll skip this break and go and just read this. You can go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, click on the link. It's got links in the story, so I'm not, pulling stuff out of my butt, all right? Mike Adams writes, he's the editor of naturalnews.com. Says the U.S. Census Bureau claims you are required by law to reveal your race on their coercive questionnaire, and Census Bureau workers can get ridiculously adamant about stalking you until you agree to fill out such forms. Got a link on that one. What they don't tell you is that the data you voluntarily provide the Census Bureau may be used to target you and your entire family for armed government kidnappings and involuntary relocation to a concentration camp where you are forced into slave labor. And a little side note there, remember what they did with all the people in Auschwitz and all the camps over there in occupied Germany. Now, Mike Adams continues here. If this sounds outlandish and impossible, you seriously don't know your history. Because this has already taken place in America. Not only was an internment camp system run for many years across the United States, but the U.S. Supreme Court confirmed, quote-unquote, constitutionality of those camps. 1943, during the Second World War, we had internment camps in Southern California, in Kansas, and all over the United States for POWs, German and otherwise. Continuing, but the U.S. Supreme Court confirmed constitutionality of these camps, which were populated by families targeted and kidnapped by the federal government solely because of their race. Don't believe there was an internment camp in Southern California in the 1940s? Go talk to George Takei. Yeah, the same one that played Sulu on Star Trek. Same guy. He was a kid in one of those internment camps. Continuing, as we learned after 60 years of denials and cover-ups, the U.S. Census Bureau turned over racial targeting data to the U.S. government to conduct armed and door-to-door racial kidnappings of U.S. citizens who were dragged off to internment camps by the thousands. That this has already taken place is likely to be a special interest to those who are watching the proliferation of so-called FEMA camps today. Here's the lost episode of Jesse Ventura's Conspiracy Theory Show, which details the existence of these camps, which, by the way, there's a link to it there in the article, which, by the way, was only run once. That was it. The federal government came to the channel and said, no, you got to take it off. And the federal government went and hacked into, or just went to the DVR systems and satellite systems and to the DVR and TVR systems and erased it from people's hard drives on their DVR system. Okay? It ran once. It's all over YouTube. You can go find it. FEMA camps, Jesse Ventura, Conspiracy Theory. Go look it up on YouTube, if it's still there. Continuing, here are some other astonishing, jaw-dropping historical facts that most Americans simply do not know about concentration camps in America. Facts that every American needs to know about FEMA camps and concentration camps and, quote-unquote, refugee camps. In 1942, so-called war relocation camps or concentration camps were set up in the United States across America in the states like Wyoming, California, Utah, and Arizona. Over 100,000 Japanese American citizens were rounded up at gunpoint, kidnapped by the government, and forcibly relocated to these concentration camps. They were forced to abandon their homes, farms, and businesses. This rounding up of Japanese American citizens was authorized, quote unquote, authorized by President Franklin D. Roosevelt, another progressive in the office of president, who bypassed Congress, as Barack Obama does, and issued Executive Order 9066 on February 19, 1942. The executive order was written and carried out in total violation of the U.S. Constitution and its Bill of Rights. The legal loophole that was used to justify this blatantly illegal act is as follows. Military commanders were granted the administrative right, that's in quotes, to declare entire states to be, quote-unquote, exclusion zones from which people of Japanese ancestry were excluded. The internment camps were, of course, not included in the exclusion zones, meaning that all Japanese Americans were forced to be put into the internment camps in order to comply with the exclusive zone orders. This action, by the way, is the ultimate expression of race-based profiling. Okay? No one was given a trial. No charges were even filed against those who were forced into camps. They were simply rounded up at gunpoint and shoved into a railroad cars and buses. Huh. Didn't that happen in Germany in the 1940s? Huh. Businesses taken over, business people, and people being taken forcefully out of their homes and put on trailers and taken to these camps. And, the U.S. government issued shameless propaganda films to spread disinfo about its illegal actions. There's a video link there for it from 1942. The film, as you can see for yourself, describes the gunpoint kidnapping and internment of American citizens as nothing more than a need, quote, to transfer several thousand Japanese residents from the Pacific coast to points in the American interior, unquote. It does not mention that those points were surrounded by barbed wire and armed guards, where prisoners were forced into what is essentially slave labor just to survive. How were all those Japanese American citizens located by the government? The U.S. Census Bureau turned over the racial targeting data to the federal government. So anyone who obeyed the census and revealed Japanese as their ancestry on the census forms received a visit by an armed squad of government kidnappers who forced you and your family into a concentration camp, war relocation camp. And last, and you can read this by clicking on the link in Liberty and Freedom Network, the U.S. Census Bureau vigorously denied its involvement in the government kidnappings, staging a multiple-decade cover-up. The truth finally came out in 2007. Detailed are now published in both Scientific America and USA Today. Now, it's a lengthy article. That's why I'm stopping right there. You can go check it out at Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. U.S. Census Bureau helped racially target thousands of American citizens for armed government kidnap. Okay? Now, in this country, we have more prisons being built than we have schools. On one, according to one report. Now, I don't know where anyone else is listening to this from, either the UK or England or Australia or, wherever. But I got to ask you a question here. Here you have people depending, or some of them, who need, some assistance from the government, welfare, whatever. They need it. Others, they don't need it, but they have that, okay? And their medical is very limited. If they go to the hospital, they're, whatever. It's limited, sometimes not even paid for, yada, 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 like it is now here in the U.S., as I mentioned in the last hour. But when you go to prison, or when you're a politician, or when, in something of that nature, if you're in prison, you get all the health care you want for free, and it's everything you ever wanted, and they go overboard to give you what you need. Let's see. Well, what does that tell you? Seriously? What does that tell you? That tells me that my government is corrupt. That tells me that, as Nathan said, it's slave labor. Because now, and you can check this out yourself. Right now I'm gonna tell you, you don't have to believe me. You can go and check this stuff out yourself. Businesses are more apt to, outsource their work to prisoners. If it's a manufacturing company or whatever, because you look at some of these prisons on Google Earth, I mean, they're huge freaking facilities. And they're able to do, small to medium-sized work as factories go. But it's slave freaking labor because it's prisoners doing the work. And these businesses don't have to pay anybody, really. They just contract out to the prisons. Okay? So here you are. You're comparing this to the forced labor work in prisons. You go out, you get a job, it's minimum wage, whatever your minimum wage is there, if you have one. Minimum wage here in this state of Nevada in the United States is $8.25 if they do not offer you health care coverage, and $7.25 an hour if they do offer you a health package. But you have that. You have minimum wage workers working in a convenience store, working 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day at some little place somewhere, not making a whole heck of a lot, right? They can't get coverage. There's certain programs that you can get on, but some of them cost you, some of them don't. Some of them are federally funded or government funded. You get something, but it's very, very limited. But you go to prison and you're working in those slave factories over there in the prisons, and you get all your health care for free. What? You cut yourself? Oh, let's go and, okay, we'll give you a tetanus shot. We'll do this. Okay, good, you're done. What? You got appendicitis? Okay, let's do the operation. Boom, boom, boom. All that. It's all free. And guess who's paying for it? Dun, dun, dun. Newsflash. Taxpayers. Yeah, taxpayers are paying for that. But what's the difference? Taxpayers are paying for the guy working minimum wage who can't get health care. No. What part of free don't they understand? Because under certain laws in America, under certain policies in the healthcare system here in America, a third of, I think it's common law too, a third of a doctor's profession, a third of his service, his or her service, is required to be given to the patient for free. Okay? Charity care is what it's called. Why don't they do that? You know, somebody was trying to argue with me about the fact that, well, geez, if you gave away all the medical and all the health care for free, geez, these hospitals wouldn't be open. How are these doctors going to make any money if you give it away for free? Well, you're right, yeah, but, hello, you look at the statistics, for every 10 people that go to the emergency room in a week, there's, 30 or 40 or 50 people or more that are in that hospital that are paying for that doctor to come in to see you in the emergency room? Or their group, a doctor belongs to a group, contracted to the hospital, so the contract pays them anyway. So does any money come out of your pocket? No. Because the hospital is paying. I mean, they're all getting money somewhere. The hospitals are, they got their fingers in the pie somewhere, so they're making money. Some hospitals, here in Nevada, one hospital here was changed hands. Another company out of Southern California or Central California came and bought the hospital, merged with the hospital, that kind of thing, laid off a whole bunch of people, and just really, I don't know what they're doing now, because all I heard is that they came in, and from what I heard from insiders, they laid off hundreds of people. Well, that's what happens. You merge with a company, the new company comes in and says, no, we want our people there. You guys, you're all fired. Go away. I don't know if that happens in your neck of the woods, but yeah, that's what happens over here. Isn't that called progress? Is that called progress? Because that truly sucks. Now, the thing that literally bugs the crap out of me, and I'll end the show here in the next few minutes with this. The thing that truly bugs me is I'm seeing a vast majority of people in the U.S., freedom-loving, liberty-minded people like myself, standing up, and the mainstream media, corporate whore, biological android reading, teleprompter reading, people are not even mentioning that we're trying to defend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Oh, I know why. Because Washington, D.C. writes the scripts for mainstream media because we now have state-run media. Stick that in your little cranium and think about that one. I don't know what it is in your neck of the woods, but I can tell you this much. Max Kaiser and Gerald Celente, financial people that have been in a business for many, 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 many years, have said that they look between 3 to 6 months, or by next summer at least, that the finances, that the economics of this country, of the United States of America, will get flushed completely and utterly down the loo. Everything's in the toilet now. We're just waiting for somebody to push the handle. You know what I mean? That's basically what we're waiting for, okay? Because it's inevitably going to go there, all right? So, I apologize for clearing my throat, but I ran out of water. So anyway, hey, I am so glad that you're listening to this. Go to the website, click on the link there on the show, and check it out. Not too much up there just yet. You can contact me through the website as well. Come back tomorrow for the Views Express, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. For the first hour, I'll have Open Forum Friday. I'll tell you how to get a hold of me then. Actually, if you have Skype, you can put into the contacts ULCREV 62, ULC Rev 62. That would be me. Put that in the contacts, and tomorrow, for the first hour of the show, I will have Open Forum Friday. Whatever it is you want to talk about, it can be geopolitical, it can be scientific, it can be whatever. You got a good recipe for an apple pie? Hey, share that as well. For the first hour of the show, second hour of the show, I'll just go hard and heavy into the news and let you know what I think. So anyway, I will hopefully see you here tomorrow. I will hopefully be able to get through the news. and analyze it for you. And now, you can also email me at the show personally. You can email me personally at the show at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. In the meantime, I hope to see you here tomorrow on the Views Express on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live from the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, in FEMA Region 9. And I want y'all to remember something, because this is something that you got to drill in. I don't care where you live in the world. You're a free citizen. Remember that. You're a free human being. Okay? Remember that. But also remember this. In America, we the people have the power, for we are America.